Welcome to another episode of Real Talk about real estate, realtors, and real stuff. And today we are going to bring up the 5 questions to ask a realtor before you hire them. Like, what are the 5 important questions? There's a lot. There's more than 5, but these are good ones though.
And honestly, when you interview a realtor, at least to sell your home, this is something that some of these are also for a buyer's agent because you get to choose your buyer's agent. But if you're hiring a listing agent and you're at a listing appointment with them, they're likely going to go over a lot of these things, but you should definitely have questions ready to go.
Right.
For after their presentation.
Have questions.
So question number 1, are you a part-time or full-time realtor? Why is this important to ask?
Well, do you hire a part-time doctor, a part-time lawyer, a part-time teacher, CPA. Part-time CPA? I mean, I think that it's important to know that this person is 100% into selling your home, and this is what they do for a full career. It's not a hobby.
If they're not working 30, 40, 50 hours a week, things slip through the cracks.
Good point.
That's the main issue I see. If I'm like on vacation, then my head is not fully in real estate. So I can only imagine if you're part-time, and obviously when we're on vacation, we have so much backup here, so it's not an issue. But for a part-time agent, they are probably not in the office that much. They're working from home. And they got kids, they got other stuff going on. Things are going to slip through.
They're just not even in it 100% anyways. Yeah. So they don't know what the newest trends are. Maybe they're only selling a couple houses a year. And so their experience level is a little bit different and what's been happening, currently, because it's constantly changing. So yeah, full-time is preferable. So I would definitely ask that question. Yes. The second one is, are you a solo agent or are you on a team? And I would say that even some of the solo agents, even though they don't claim to have a team, they do have like backup. Like they have transaction coordinators. So it doesn't mean that if they're not on a team, that's not a good thing. Obviously, we are a team, and we think a team is, a team always outperforms an individual. But I don't think if you're a solo agent, like I can think of a couple of agents right now that are rock stars, solo agents, but they also have support. So they have tons of support. They aren't letting stuff slip through the cracks. Or if you are on vacation, on a team, if you're on vacation, we have another agent that can help you look at property or whatever they're going to do, help you negotiate offers if you need to. But solo agents would typically ask a friend to do it that's in the business maybe. I just think that being on a team, though, you do have a lot of support. So rather than having one agent working to sell your home, you have 5, 10 agents that are working to sell your home. So that is the difference. That is important, but I don't think it's 110% has to be that you work with someone that's a team. Because I can name a bunch of agents that are solo and are great.
Definitely shouldn't be the decision maker, but it's just something to consider and ask about and ask, why is a team better or why is a solo agent better?
Right. Yeah, agreed. Whatever fits for you and
your preferences. Okay, number 3, what services do you provide or marketing or both? Obviously both services and marketing. And the agent's probably going to go over this in their listing presentation, and they tell you about all that. But sometimes they don't. And if they don't, be sure to ask, because each agent does things a little bit differently, and it's important to know.
Right. And I mean, most agents do a lot of the same things, but we do quite a bit of social media marketing, which a lot of agents do that as well. But open houses, that's pretty basic. I mean, we had heard of an agent that had told somebody, a seller, that they don't do open houses because it's not safe. And it was a nice neighborhood.
10 open houses a weekend in
Right.
Chico.
So, I mean, open houses are completely up to you. We highly recommend them. We don't think you can get too much exposure, but if you don't want to do them, you don't have to. But if you want open houses, make sure that you're working with an agent, not only that says they do them, that has support to do them, because they may not be able to be out there every single weekend to do an open house. They either need to be within a larger office where another agent would want to hold it open, or on a team where they can hold it open. So yeah, marketing, what services you provide are super important.
Yeah. And hopefully they can also show some proof of the results of that marketing, I would say too.
Number 4. what is it going to cost me to sell my house? I mean, that's super important.
Yes.
Most people want to know, how much are we going to list it for? How much am I going to get for it? Yeah. And what's it going to cost me? Because they want to know their net, right? They want to know, how much money do I have to take into the new house?
Yeah.
So your agent should be providing you with an estimated
emphasis on estimated.
Yeah. Net proceeds to give you a general idea. And if they're not, and if they say, oh, the title company will figure that out for you, well, they don't do that. Doesn't happen typically until the end, unless they call them up front and ask them to do that. So we provide that on pretty much every sale that we or listing that we have, to kind of give you a general idea. Here's where your escrow fees are going to be. Here's what your title fees are going to be. Your inspection fees, the county transfer tax, your real estate fees. Talk about the real estate fees. Go through all of that. You want to know the numbers. So make sure that not only are they giving you a market analysis, but they're telling you exactly what it's going to cost to get it sold and how much you will net.
Yes. And if you're going to net more, if somebody says you're going to net more if you list with me because I'm going to list it higher, that's not a reason to hire that person either. So it's a question to ask, but it's not something to base your decision on.
That is a really good point.
Yeah.
I mean, you should really make sure that if you don't go with the agent that says your house is worth $100,000 more than all the other agents you've interviewed, there's probably a problem there. Yes. Not always, but probably. So
yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. And number 5, what should I expect for communication from you? I think this is something that gets overlooked and not talked about. I know we try to make a point to talk about it in our listing appointments because it's really good to set that expectation up front of what is your communication style. Do you like phone calls? Do you like text? Do you like email? How often? I personally don't respond to text messages after 8 p.m., which I think is reasonable and people usually understand that, but I do like to sometimes say that if, I don't know.
Right.
You ever say your hours that you don't?
Yeah.
I guess if it's brought up, I do.
Most people don't call or text you late hours at night, but some do. And you also have to ask, but what we want to know what your preferable form of communication is. What time of day do you like to be called? Yeah. And I think one of the biggest issues that clients have is that they don't have communication from their agent. Yeah. So that is really important. What form of communication? One of the things that we do, and I think other agents do as well, is we do contact you once a week and kind of give you an idea of especially how the open houses went, when can we reschedule the next open house. But we also send you out like a market report, the stats on how many showings you've had, how many views you've had on Zillow, Realtor.com, the different websites. So it's a whole report that we print out and that we create and email to you, that kind of gives you a general idea of what's happening. Because there's nothing worse than you get your house all ready, you put it on the market, and then you have no idea like what's going on. Like we had a showing, what happened with the showing? We try to give you all the feedback on the showing. Yeah. And that's another thing we use in the communication is the Trello board where people can go on and see how many showings they've had. But I think it's important to know that an agent's not just going to stick a sign in the ground and say, I'll call you when we have an offer.
Yeah. Yeah, you want the updates, and you don't want to have to always be asking your agent what's going on. Like you want your agent to be proactive, telling you what's going on. Right. And so we set that expectation that, hey, we're going to reach out to you on, Monday, tell you about how the weekends went, or, expect to hear from me from these days and times, things like that. We try to talk to you about.
Communication is so important. Probably one of the number one.
Yeah. So I would definitely ask your agent about that. And then also if that agent hasn't really thought about, I guess, setting expectations around communication with their client, then it does get into their head that they need to, or that they should be thinking about when they're going to communicate with you, or that you're expecting better communication in the future. I don't know.
Hopefully that helps. You know, I mean, we want you to pick the right agent, whether it's here in Chico or us or out of the area.
Yep. Okay. All right.